Hello, everyone. What is Gradfly? Gradfly is a visual LinkedIn for high school science, technology, engineering, and math students showcasing their most groundbreaking projects. My name is Oscar Pedroso, founder and CEO of Gradfly. Next to me is my co-founder and CIO, Anna Hadnaj. Before Gradfly, I worked in college admissions and counseling. And let me tell you, I witnessed students building some of the most amazing and incredible things I've ever seen. And no one knows about them. Not only things being built in the classroom and a science lab, but in their garages and backyards. I knew some of you out here can relate to building something in a garage or backyard, maybe in a tiny apartment in New York City. But how do you leverage these projects that students are working on to get into schools like MIT, RPI, Caltech, Cooper Union, and once they're in these schools, building even more fascinating projects? How do you leverage those projects, like sending rovers to Mars or assisting in Felix Baumgartner's highest man freefall? And how do you get those students into internships and co-op programs at the finest high-tech companies in the world? Now, I don't know, some of you may or may not be familiar with the way that high school students currently showcase their work, but we've created a video for you to give you a little bit of insight. Let's take a look.
Great.
I do not feature this work at all.
Would you like to?
I would. I think that doing this sort of thing is something that colleges would like to see because this is actually a college program. It counts for a college credit.
But it would definitely be more helpful if there were a way to get out more broadly what we were doing, because it would be helpful to have expert help from other people who've seen our project.
That on Facebook, I have a pretty limited group of friends that I share my posts with, and a lot of them are interested in what I'm doing, but it's not the whole audience I want to reach. And it's certainly not the colleges, it's certainly not the future employers that I hope you can see this and see what kind of person I am, what kind of project.
Our robotics site is more geared toward other teams who are interested in what we're doing for the US competition, or sponsors who want to know what we're doing in the community, and other people who are aware of our team. It's not geared toward colleges or potential employers.
The crazy thing is the education software industry is emerging. It's an $8 billion industry, but very little is being done in the high school to college market. Plenty is being done from college to the job market. But what about the high school students? Students are still having trouble exposing their projects, collaborating with one another, and organizing those projects. But not anymore. Introducing Gradfly, a portfolio platform for the nation's most innovative minds. What you see here, when a student logs in, you'll create your very first portfolio. Here we use Carla Jane Puckett. She is an actual beta tester in Washington High School in Rochester, New York. Right away, you know what Carla loves to do. Robots, optics, pneumatics, an amazing woman. The main interaction on this website are the projects that students are working on. As you can see here, you can search through all kinds of projects that Carla's working on. Anna, if you want to go ahead and pick something that Carla's been working on.
Well, I know that she likes robots and Legos, so I'm going to search for that.
And bingo, there you go, all the projects that Carla's been working on that involve Legos and robotics. You can also search by categories as well, science, technology, and engineering, and even find more specific projects within engineering that she's worked on, if she has. And you can also, on the bottom left-hand corner, you can see some college matches. We've created an algorithm that pairs the student to a particular college. So in the case of Carla, who loves robotics, we would pair her with robust college programs out there that are geared towards robotics. And that goes for anyone who's interested in chemistry, anyone who's interested in physics, and so forth. Now, to upload a project, this is where the fun part starts. You add a project, and you get prompted to an interface where the student can upload pictures, videos, audios, embedded content, Google Docs, any sort of multimedia. You can do it all at once. You create a cover page, you title your project, and then you write a brief description about the project. And it should show up right on the main interface there. You can see on the first picture there is a project that she's worked on. Now, what happens when you click on a project? Students are telling us that they want to capture the story behind the project. What did the nuts and bolts of that project look like? And what did it look like 6 weeks later when they had the final product? You can, so Facebook has its like, Gradfly has its commendations. You commend a student's work. And the more a student has commendations, the more weight and prestige that portfolio has. Now let's go back to the main screen. You'll notice that next to Carla's name, we have badges. These are badges that she earns over time. And this is sort of like to create a viral element. I know it's a tricky word to use, but what's going to keep students excited about uploading projects? You can get badges in chemistry, molecular engineering, aeronautics, robotics, and so forth. Let's go back. When you click on one of the college matches, you'll find a little bit more information about the school, including a real-time social media feed about current happenings, professors, as well as general information about undergraduate programs. Now, we currently have the iPad and iPhone apps under development. We just started releasing students off the wait list yesterday, and we will be continuing to do so. So please, if you know anyone who's a high school student or any siblings or sons and daughters who are building incredible things, have them join up. And yep, so there you have it, Gradfly, the best portfolio platform for science, tech, engineering, and math students. Thank you.
So, are you familiar with a company called Be Recruited at all?
I'm sorry?
Are you familiar with a company called Be Recruited?
No.
So they did this for athletics. And I'm curious like what your strategy is to get college admission. Like what's the incentive for me as a student to join Gradfly?
Sure. Well, a lot of these students, when we first started working with them, they were showcasing projects on sites like Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr. They even had their own personal websites, but it was still hard to be part of a community that really appreciated that work. And that's what we heard the most, is that these students were like, no one knows about me. How can I get more known out there? And I think that's the value that we bring to students, aside the college matching and everything else, but we bring them a place where they can interact with one another about anything nerdy and geeky.
Isn't there a barrier? So you guys pitch yourself as we're going to connect STEM students from high school to colleges.
Sure.
And then you start talking about student-to-student community. When you throw an authority figure on top of a community, the sharing starts changing drastically. And so if I'm a student trying to show off my work, I'm only going to show off my polished work if I know colleges are looking, whereas I'm probably going to show off a lot more free stuff or freedom with my sharing if it's just student. So how do you merge those two things together?
Sure, we give the option to share certain kinds of projects, so there is a privacy element to it. We even ran across students who didn't want to showcase certain work because they didn't want it to get stolen. So we give that option as to what they consider polished, because you can also create a work in progress where you kind of maybe haven't completed a project yet, but you're really excited about it. So there's that angle to it as well.
So how do you stop? If this becomes really popular, why doesn't someone like GitHub just expand their business model and get into something like this?
Well, with Gradfly, I mean, with GitHub, I've seen some students on there that are putting projects on there, mostly code, but we at Gradfly love everything else about science, technology, engineering. You get to see the hardware that these students are creating. So like Legos, any remote control cars, Legos. I mean, that's kind of the content that we want on the site. We welcome code, and we actually were thinking about approaching Code Academy, because it'd be great to be able to, through the badging process and then code that current students have, be able to share certain kinds of information that way and become glue to other types of websites.
I mean, may I ask, was in your bachelor degree in chemistry?
Yeah, I did a chemistry degree.
Did you think about putting your chemistry projects on GitHub?
No, but I graduated like a decade ago, so it didn't exist then.
Yes, but it's not
yeah,
an
no,
appropriate
I hear what you're saying.
platform.
Yeah. No, I understand. I'm just wondering if you guys had thought about it, which you have, so it's good.
Yes.
It's good.
Is your intention to monetize this? This feels like a really noble thing right now, like build a community and to allow people to collaborate, but
yeah,
what's the bigger vision, I guess?
We get that asked out a lot, and I think it's tricky with multi-sided platforms because we're trying to create an environment where students don't pay to feature content, and we do that purposely because we feel that what's going to drive the site is the content. On the paying customer side, we've been talking to colleges such as the University of Rochester that want access to talented students, women engineers, minority engineers, anyone really who's very passionate about it. They want exclusive access to those students to be able to market to them in a specific way.
Are you verifying the students before they come onto your platform in any way?
Yes, but that's something we need to work on as well, because right now we just ask for very limited information. One of the next steps that we're doing is asking for more personal information like SAT scores, GPA, and that's something that we're learning in the process.
But is there a verification? Because if you're allowing anybody onto your platform and there's idea sharing and sort of invention sharing, there's a lot of the stealing issue starts coming up, especially sort of non-students coming onto student platform. Any thoughts around that?
Definitely, I agree. And I think that's just something we need to work on as far as creating something a little more formal so we don't have, you know, ballet dancers create profiles on Gradfly.
And what about Behance? So Behance, so from a feature set, right? Uploading pictures, audio, code, there are a lot of sites that allow you Dribble to build a portfolio and share a portfolio. You guys are differentiating by saying we're targeting STEM students from high school.
Yes.
Other than simply the messaging, is there any real hardcore differentiation in your portfolio tools?
Behance is an awesome website, and like people like James White are on it. So it has become very exclusive, not only in the terms of art and design, but also big names are on it. And these are high school students. I mean, they are not the next Steve Jobs yet. They need a different platform where they feel more comfortable.
Have you had feedback from the science t-shirts, like science teachers?
Oh yeah, they love it.
What do they say?
They love it. Our latest high school that we visited was Ithaca High, and we worked closely with one of the teachers there who teaches engineering courses, and he was like, I would make my students use this, and they wouldn't get an A unless they built a portfolio on Gradfly. And they also loved the fact that the student could kind of walk a viewer through the evolution of a project from inception to completion.
How are you acquiring high school students now?
So for the past year, we've been just locally focused on Western New York. So Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, Ithaca. From there, we haven't really gone that much far, but we've been partnering with organizations like First Robotics, First Lego League, National Science Foundation, Society of Women Engineers, all who love everything STEM. So it makes sense to focus on them because they are usually an umbrella organization for hundreds of students. So if we can get them on board to kind of be advocates for Gradfly, then it'd be great. It'll be a lot easier to reach these students.
Great. Awesome. We're out of time, but thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gradfly.